Let me ask you something. What if I told you that the Baltimore Ravens could still control their entire season, even with everything that's happened, even with all the noise, even with all the disrespect, even with all the injuries? Because right now, Ravens fans are arguing about Lamar's health, Nick Wright, whether this Patriots game is a must win or not. But almost no one is talking about the actual, listen to me, playoff math and how this Sunday's game changes everything. And oh yeah, Nick Wright said what about Lamar Jackson? Yeah, we got to talk about that too. I'm Rob Love. This is One Flock. Buckle up. It's time to fly. Let's go.
Let's go Ravens, let's go Ravens, let's go Ravens, let's go Ravens. We are one flock, we are one flock, we are one flock, we are one flock.
What's going on, flock? Welcome to another episode of One Flock. I'm your host, Rob Love, and man, feels good to be here. Today's episode is a big one, and if you're watching Sunday morning, you're about to hear everything you need to know before kickoff with Ravens Patriots tonight, because the Ravens are officially in must-win mode. This is not for the reasons, though, that most people are yelling about. No, not at all. We've got that to talk about. We're also going to talk about the actual math that affects the Ravens' path to a potential playoff appearance and exactly what needs to unfold or cannot unfold in order for that to take place. How about this one? Why the Patriots week is the key domino, and I do believe it is. I think you will too after we talk about it. There's a controversial strategy that I'm hearing about that has many fans starting to bicker surrounding next week's Packers game that is really going to catch you off guard if you haven't heard about it yet. Love to hear what you think. Nick Wright saying some of the most bizarre, crazy nonsense of his career. And considering some of the things he said in his career, that's saying a lot. We're also going to look at what a former NFL cornerback says that he expects for Lamar to do today. And of course, we wouldn't be right if we got out of here without the One Flock forecast for Ravens versus Patriots. So we've got a heck of a show lined up. You're in the right place at the right time. So let's go ahead and get into it. First things first. Look, I know Ravens fans are emotional right now, and we should be. I mean, think about it. Divisional rival, the Cincinnati Bengals. We just crushed their playoff hopes in a 24-0 shutout at their place. Of course we're emotional. Of course we're excited. But remember this, emotions don't get you into the playoffs, and they certainly don't win playoff games. Math gets you into the playoffs. So let's take a look at that math, because that math is everything that I hope this team has clearly focused in their head right now. And as a fan base, we need to have a clear picture of what we see happening too. We've got 3 games left. Everybody knows that. This week, of course, England. Next week, at the Packers. And of course, close out the season at Pittsburgh. Now, there aren't just 3 weeks left in the season and 3 opponents. There's actually only 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 ways that the Baltimore Ravens can make it to the playoffs. And these scenarios are the only 3. I'm going to start off with this. Understand this. There is no scenario where the Baltimore Ravens lose to Pittsburgh and go to the playoffs. At 7-7, our only hope to make it into the playoffs is to make it as the AFC North champions. Right now, we're second to Pittsburgh at 7-7. While we cannot lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers don't have to win another game except the one against us. If the Pittsburgh Steelers beat us, they go. There's no scenario where we lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We can win today against the Patriots. We can win next week against the Green Bay Packers and lose to Pittsburgh, and it's over. Pittsburgh Steelers can lose today against Detroit. They can lose next week against Cleveland and beat us. They're going to the playoffs. Very different positions that we're in as a result of that robbery that happened in that previous Pittsburgh Steelers game, which we won't talk about anymore. But right now, I just want you to understand, I got this graphic up on the screen. Take a look at it. These are the three paths to a potential playoff appearance by the Baltimore Ravens. The first one is obvious there. If we win out, we'll end up 10-7, which means we not only won against Green Bay and the Patriots, but we beat Pittsburgh, the all-important game, and there's no way the Steelers get in over us. But that's a lot of pressure. Some might say, though, if we can't beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Green Bay Packers, and the Patriots, then we weren't going to do anything in the playoffs anyway, because you're going to have to win at least that many games in a row against better competition than those. However, because things can happen, it's nice to know you got a little wiggle room prior to the playoffs, and there is very slim wiggle room. Now, we know today the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing the Detroit Lions. Most of us think this is the only game of the next two they have that they have a shot at losing, because their next game is against the Cleveland Browns, and no one really expects the Steelers to lose to them. If Pittsburgh loses today, and the Ravens beat the Patriots, we don't have to do anything else but beat the Steelers in the final game. We could lose next week. As long as the Steelers lose a game. They lose today, that takes the pressure off. That means we win today. The only other game we have to win to get into the playoffs is beat the Steelers in the final game. We could throw the Green Bay Packers game. And there's some people who actually are suggesting that that's something we should do. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But I just want you to see right now that whatever the Steelers do, as you look at this chart, if the Steelers lose one game over the next two, we can lose one game over the next two. If they lose both games by some means, we could lose both games. But there's no scenario where we don't beat Pittsburgh and we go. If Pittsburgh wins out, we have to win out. You understand? We can't lose a game if they don't. We cannot lose a game if Pittsburgh doesn't lose a game. So, are we rooting for Detroit today? I am, aren't you? Lions. We are Lions fans today. Rah-rah. Barry Sanders. Let's go. Put Barry back on the team. But that's the situation. And as we look at it, it's not bleak. Could Detroit beat Pittsburgh? They don't have TJ Watt. That defense is banged up. Detroit has a lot to play for. We know that they're still fighting for their playoff positioning. So this is a big game. Bigger game to Detroit than it is to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So there's a chance Pittsburgh gets beat today. And the Ravens will know the outcome of that game by the time they take the field tonight. We shouldn't be depending on what some other team does. We really want to take this into our own hands, but it's very important not to waste the potential of getting that leg up if Pittsburgh happens to lose today. We certainly wouldn't want to squander it by losing to a New England team that we should beat. These aren't imaginary scenarios. There's no fake paths to the playoffs. This is just the math, and it is what it is. This is why this Patriots game matters so much, because it determines exactly how much pressure exists on us today. And you know what they say about pressure? Pressure bursts pipes. When you're playing under pressure all the time, pressure bursts pipes. Now, some people will flip that around and say pressure makes diamonds. Well, yeah, sometimes, but it also bursts pipes more often than it makes diamonds. It's all about how you react to the pressure, but the unnecessary pressure in these situations, the playoffs are pressure. We put ourselves in a cooker by getting to this point that we are now, fighting at 7-7. But if the Ravens beat the Patriots and Pittsburgh loses to Detroit, that pressure has been relieved to a great extent. And then guess what? Suddenly, and this is the conversation I was alluding to earlier, suddenly the Packers game doesn't matter for playoff qualification. The only game that would matter in that case would be the season finale against Pittsburgh, and that's what sparked this wild debate. Do you rest Lamar against the Packers if that situation unfolds? To protect him? Do you play conservative? Do you let, Kyle Hamilton, get better? Anybody who's a little banged up? And I'm not saying that the Ravens are going to do that. I'm not even saying that's the thing to do, because the counter argument to that is we saw that Lamar was starting to get into a groove a little bit in the second half of that last game against the Bengals. If we see that continue today against the Patriots, do you interrupt that when it's just now starting to go? Do you risk something happening in a game that doesn't matter for the playoffs? Or do you risk messing with that chemistry that's starting to rebuild? All I'm saying is, this is why the Patriots game is non-negotiable. Because whether you like that idea of throwing the Packers game as far as not going all in and putting in Lamar and the starters for the whole game, or whether you just like the aspect of the pressure cooker relaxes. Maybe they don't have to play as hard, be as stressed, burst pipes versus the Packers up there in Lambeau. Win today. And the entire scene changes. You have those options. So speaking of health, Lamar's health, we're talking about him resting and getting his health together. I got to take a quick time out because, we talk about all the injuries and we talk about how important it is to rest for the team and getting their rest. But getting our rest, isn't that tough sometimes? Not just rest, but your routine period. You're working out, making sure you do the things to take care of you. One thing that's been a challenge for me more as of late is just eating correctly. Do you have enough time in the day to eat like you're supposed to? A lot of times you end up, the drive-through? If you eat at all, you look up at it's lunchtime, you haven't even had breakfast yet. Nutrition is probably one of the hardest things for me and a lot of the people that I know to get done. So that being said, there's something I've been doing I want to share with you guys, and I'm super excited about because today's episode is sponsored by AG1, and the timing couldn't be more perfect. AG1 is a 1 scoop a day nutritional drink. It's loaded with 75 vitamins, minerals, probiotics, prebiotics, superfoods, and it supports immunity, gut health, recovery, and just overall performance. It's basically, if you're not being able to get everything from what you're eating and what you have time to put on a plate, it supplements that and fills the gaps. It tastes great. It's simple. The flavors are amazing. If you haven't had it already, you got an opportunity now. Our sponsor today is going to give you the opportunity to get over $100 in free product if you're a first-time subscriber to AG1, to this absolutely amazing drink. Your body's going to thank you for it. So when you support them, you support your own health, and you support One Flock. Thanks again to our sponsors, AG1. You guys taste it. Let me know what your favorite flavor is, because in the pack they're going to send you for free, you're going to get to sample all the new flavors. The original flavor is amazing, but these new flavors, anyhow, you guys let me know how you love it. Thanks again, AG1. Now, the link is in the description. It should be on the screen somewhere right now, too. If you have any questions about that, check the description, though. It'll be there. Now, let's talk about the dumbest take of the week. Nick Wright. Nick Wright is dead wrong. Again, he's officially outdone himself this time. He says Lamar Jackson is immature because he gets sick during the winter with the flu and sometimes misses practice. Let me say that again. A grown man, a former 2-time MVP, should have been 3-time. An NFL franchise quarterback is immature because he caught the flu every winter for the past 6 years. That's not analysis. That's nonsense. Nick, I know people that haven't had the flu or a cold in years. It is not because they're mature. What are we saying? At what point did you go to your doctor's office and your doctor said, you know what? You just need to be more mature. You wouldn't be in here sniffling and sneezing. What are you talking about? That's the absolute crazy. And if, I was going to play it, but it's so ridiculous. You know what? I am going to play it. Some of you haven't seen this yet. Check this out.
Lamar can't get sick and miss practice every single year. He's the most important person in that franchise. He's an adult. He's a professional athlete, and he is the only, forget star, just starting quarterback in this league that every single year he can't manage to figure out how to not get the seasonal flu and miss his practice. That's a problem. I know it sounds ridiculous to bang on a guy for getting sick. I think that in our field, if every year during like our most important time of the year, you're like, oh, Nick's going to be out 4 days because he's going to get sick, you'd be like, at some point, hey, man, take care of yourself. Figure out what's going on. I think being damn near 30 and not figuring out how to not get sick every winter when your job demands you be at your best every winter speaks to immaturity. And I know people are going to clip this and say I'm being unfair. I don't think it's unfair.
And you thought I was making it up. Nope. He said it. Nick Wrong is doing special things in the area of being wrong and absurdity in broadcasting. I just can't. Immature to get sick? If you think it's immature to get sick, there's a lot of immature people in doctor's offices every day, right? I guess we all need to go to pediatricians. Anybody who's sick, you better go see a pediatrician because you're a child. Your maturity level is... Oh, my gosh. Anyway, his second take was even worse. Worse, you say? Yes, worse. This is what he had to say the very next day. Check this out.
I think moving forward, I just probably trust Drake Maye more than Lamar Jackson.
Wow. For the rest of their career?
I just think I think that Drake Maye, I said this 2 months ago that I thought Drake Maye, or a month and a half ago, was for me when I'm doing like the quarterback top fives, I've got to find a spot for Drake Maye, that I believe in the player that year. And I think that there are some concerning signs for Lamar that the best football from him is he's not going to quite reach that height again. And I think he's going to deal with a coaching change this offseason. I think he's going to deal with a coordinator change this offseason. I think the fact that Lamar Jackson seems to have stopped utilizing his legs as such a dynamic weapon not only makes him easier to defend and less of a threat running the ball, obviously, but I think it's impacted his passing. I think Drake Maye is right now, this moment for this season, the better player. And I think that Drake Maye next year will be better than he was this year. And I don't know what direction Lamar Jackson is going to be going.
I think he's just hurt.
Point. You think he might be hurt?
Like to think he's taking
that's
a
the part
turn.
that I'm a little taken aback from. You think this is who he's going to be moving forward?
I probably have not been, of the four of us, certainly of the three, Brew Wilds me, and I think probably the four of us, Brew Wilds Greg me, I've probably always been the least agog at Lamar. I think that they have done he has done a really good job over the course of his career of improving what was once a weakness and turning it into a strength as far as his ability to just scan the field and throw from the pocket. But I have never felt like Lamar in gotta-have-it passing situations the way I feel about a bunch of other quarterbacks. The other guys that are clearly in that top, the quarterback Mount Rushmore, I was always trying to put Stafford in there. Now it seems because of the year he's had, he's going to be in there. I think Drake's going to be in there. And if I am correct in that the biggest change of Lamar, over the last few years is his hesitancy to run with the ball, I don't think he's going to put up those types of prolific passing numbers moving forward. You then add to it that I don't think he is I know people hate to hear it, but a big game quarterback. I just don't. Who would I rather have moving forward? Drake Maye. Who do I trust more this weekend? Drake Maye. Who do I think's had the better season? Drake Maye. Who do I think will be better next season? Drake Maye.
What? Nick, let's talk about this first, folks. Do we not recall that Lamar Jackson, prior to getting hurt behind this horrible offensive line that everyone in the NFL is talking about and knows that he has to play behind every week, Lamar Jackson was playing better through the first 2 games of this season than he played in his historic season last year, where he threw for over 4,000 yards and ran for almost 1,000. What are you talking about, Nick? Yes, he got hurt. No, well, I don't see him running as much. I don't see him, his throwing isn't as good either as a result. No, his throwing isn't as good. His running hasn't been as much because he's banged up, because his O-line is terrible. Somebody please ask Nick where Patrick Mahomes is right now. Injured? How good is his passing while he's injured? How good is his running while he's injured? And he wants to take that the 4-game stretch of Lamar doesn't look good coming off the injury and still taking 4 or 5 sacks a game behind this line as an indication that he's done. He's never going to be Lamar again. What? It's absurd. He's so anxious because, as he mentioned, he's never been a big supporter of Lamar. Never. He's always tried to discount Lamar, and now it's just getting ridiculous. Drake Maye is who you're going to put up and say, every year it's somebody else, right? Everybody remember last year, Jaden Daniels had an awesome year. Everybody was saying, oh, the next Lamar. How'd that turn out? And before him, it's the kid down in Houston, right? How'd that turn out for him? It's somebody every year, right? Drake Maye's playing good ball right now, but let's look at it. He's had flashes, right? He's one of the front runners this year for MVP because Lamar's been hurt. He's played mostly untested competition. Lamar Jackson is a 2-time, should be 3-time MVP. He's carried the franchise in multiple years. He has playoff wins. He's changed the defensive game plan of all other 31 teams in the country. You want to compare trust levels between that dude and Drake Maye in his, second year? Come on, man. That isn't football. That's not what that's about. That's not analysis of the game. That's bias. Drake Maye hasn't even played. He doesn't even have a playoff resume. But you want to talk about you got more trust in Drake Maye than Lamar Jackson? A 2-time MVP, 1-time unanimous? Man, quit playing. Nick wrong in classic form, and I'm done. That's all he gets of the show today. But I just wanted to share that with you. That's what folks have been talking about. If you hadn't heard it, now you've heard it. But let's move on because we're about to see these two dudes. And I think Lamar Jackson is going to show everybody, including Nick Wrong, just how wrong he is. When these two dudes on the field, even a banged up Lamar, I'll take all day over Drake Maye. After the game, we're going to be live when the clock hits 0. And yeah, I'll be barking about that. We'll see what happens. Nick Wrong, feel free to jump in on the live when we get finished. But let's talk about a perspective that I think is a whole lot more respectable than Nick Wright's. Because this guy is a former NFL cornerback, Fred Smoot, formerly of the Washington Commanders. Smoot said that, well, you listen for yourself.
The Ravens back against the wall. All right, that's when you're going to get the best out of King Henry. That's when you're going to get the best out of Zay Flowers. And that's when Lamar going to show you it's still me. All right, I'm still him. All right, even if I can't run the best. He's one of the best passers in NFL history. Nobody ever want to talk about that. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens. I just feel like New England hasn't beat a team that we know going to the playoffs right now. Besides Buffalo, they ain't beat a team that we know going to the playoffs right now. And I love me some Drake Maye. God's gift to quarterbacks. But I got to say, this is Lamar night right here.
Did you hear what that former NFL cornerback said? A guy who really knows what dangerous quarterbacks look like? Yeah, he liked Drake Maye. But he said Lamar. Lamar about to let him know. What was the quote? I'm still me. And you know what? I would love that. I would love that if Lamar's feeling good enough after his little bout with his little flu earlier this week. I hope he's able to come on that field today and just show the whole world, because it's a prime time Sunday night football game. I'm still me. And you know, when a cornerback talks about that, he's saying that means broken contain, extended plays, defensive backs panicking, coverage rule breaking down, defenses in like, what is going on? That's what we're talking about. Cornerbacks respect Lamar. Defensive coordinators respect Lamar. They fear Lamar. How many of those defensive sessions are spent in fear breakdowns of what in the world are we going to do about Drake Maye? I'm just saying. Smoot believes this is the exact type of game that we're going to get when Lamar just reminds people who he is. And I am all for that, and I wouldn't be surprised. Mr. Nick Wright talking about Lamar can't play in big games. What's bigger than the Ravens having to win tonight? I'll be playing that clip during the show. Y'all make sure y'all back after the live because we're going to give Nick the full business. Patriots matchup breakdown. They've got a lot of guys hurt on defense right now. That's going to be something that they're going to be concerned about because with the injuries that they have, their leading tackler probably is not going to play. They've got some serious concerns in their secondary as well. The Patriots normally struggle with mobile quarterbacks. Who's more mobile than Lamar Jackson if he's feeling healthier? Well, we started to see him actually putting his foot in the dirt against the Bengals last week. That was encouraging. If we see more of that, that defense is going to be really challenged. They lack speed on the edge. And Lamar Jackson, we know what happens when he gets to the edge and breaks that pocket. Cold weather definitely favors physical teams, and it's going to be cold. Who's more physical than the Baltimore Ravens with a Derrick Henry coming out of the backfield? Smash mouth. I think Derrick Henry has a big game today. And, of course, that biggest obstacle that we have to worry about is the same as every week. It's the offensive line consistency, protecting Lamar early and often and avoiding slow starts. Now, we didn't avoid any of that last week. The offensive line, even on that beautiful dime pass that Lamar Jackson threw to Zay Flowers in the corner of the end zone, he almost got his head taken off because Falalale did what he does. Just let somebody straight through at Lamar. The slow start to the game, I mean, we were struggling. I was very concerned, as a lot of Ravens were, again, with how just lethargic the offense was through that whole first quarter. We didn't score. We didn't even threaten to score until the second quarter of the game. It was 3 and out. We can't do that. The path to victory is very, very simple. We have to control the tempo by efficient offense. The run, balance with the pass, take what the defense gives you, keep them off balance. Let the defense dictate the game. This defense is clicking right now. Now, we do have something with that. Kyle Hamilton showed up on the injury report. We'll see later today. Make sure by the time you see this, he may already be cleared to play. Hopefully, Kyle Hamilton's in the game because we know what a difference maker he is. But he's played through injuries before. It's an ankle of some sort. Just showed up on Friday, so it had to be in practice. I haven't heard anything that indicates anything major, but when you're talking about Kyle, that's something that definitely gets your attention. But as long as that defense shows up, I think Lamar's going to do Lamar, and that means it's time for the actual One Flock Forecast. You like the way I said that? One Flock Forecast. We're going to have 3 different predictions every week for the game. One that is right here in my head in the One Flock Forecast. That's the football brain pick. We're also going to have an emotional pick, the heart pick, because you got to lead with your heart sometime. And we're going to have the chaos pick, which is what if something crazy happens? But let's start with the brain pick because that's the most important one. My brain is telling me Ravens are going to win this game. Drake Maye hasn't seen a defense all year long like these Baltimore Ravens. And I think he's going to feel what that is today. You're going to see the difference between Lamar Jackson, an under pressure Lamar Jackson, and an under pressure Drake Maye, because I do think Drake Maye is going to get a little today. And you're going to see the maturity. You're going to see the maturity, Nick, of a Lamar Jackson versus a Drake Maye on the field. Ravens are going to win 24-13 in a controlled game where, because the defense plays good, because the running game is established, there's no chaos, just good offense, consistent play, and the Ravens win by double digits. Now, my heart says Lamar's heard all this nonsense all week, and he says, oh, yeah? Let me show you something. And Lamar comes out, dominates. In fact, third quarter, Lamar's done. It's like, okay, that's enough because we're up by so much. And the Ravens win 31-10 in a Lamar statement game. That's what my heart says. I would love it so much if Lamar came out and did that. And the chaos pick, well, chaos is always something you can have in the NFL. The defense scored last week. They want to score again. So the defense gets a touchdown. The special teams provide a spark with a huge explosive playoff, a kickoff, and the Ravens win 27-9 in a game that nobody predicted. So there you have it. Those are my 3 picks in the One Flock Forecast. I don't know why I said it like that. It just seemed like I need to get an announcer to say that every time we're going to do it. He just come on and go, now it's time for the One Flock Forecast. Anyhow, that's it. Before we wrap up, everybody I know getting ready for the game. I know Ravens fans, you're all going to be watching the Detroit game now to see if they beat Pittsburgh. We're all Lions fans today. But I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who's supporting the channel. We just crossed over 1,500 subscribers. That is huge. That's a big step towards our 2,000 goal. And we had an absolute blast this past Sunday after the game. And we're going to keep doing that going forward. It's official. When the clock hits 0, we are live every Ravens game, win or lose. You're here, I'm here, we're here to cry together, fly together. We're doing it. So I'm going to see you tonight, late, but it's going to be worth it because we're going to have a lot to say. Back to Nick Wright. I want to hear what you got to say. Big thanks again to AG1, our show sponsor for today. Make sure you use that One Flock link. It is in the description. Your body will thank you. I'm your host, Rob Love, saying thank you again. Really appreciate you guys for being here. Remember, if there's one thing this world will never be too full of, that thing is love. So find somebody that needs a little bit more love in their life and give it to them for me, all right? It's game day. Let's go get this win. You know my last words. Thanks for flying with the brother. I'll see you back tonight live when the clock hits 0. Let's go, Flock.
We take the field as One Flock. Come on, Ravens, here we go as One Flock. We keep grinding till we soar to the top. Come on, Ravens, here we go as One Flock. We keep grinding till we soar to the top. Let's go, Ravens, let's go, Ravens, let's go.